All right, we're on.
Oh, we're
Later,
on. Okay.
guys.
Yeah.
We gotta stop talking about Grizzly Man.
Yeah, no more Grizzly Man. That's for the pre-show only. We have a Grizzly
damn
Man
it.
pre-show. Also, we have a McDonald's pre-show.
That was not even a Grizzly Man
And
pre-show.
a Grizzly Man McDonald's pre-show.
We just name dropped it and that was it.
It's Grizzly.
Don't
Hey,
spoil it, Peter.
yeah. Come on.
But
Come
they're
on
gonna
now.
they're gonna pay top dollar for Grizzly Man content, and
No,
they're
they're
gonna get 99 Rito.
Nobody's paying anything.
It's true.
All the Werner Herzog stands are gonna shit all over us.
Oh, they are. Yeah. Welcome to Prison Moon. We're in jail.
Help.
Yeah. This is a cry for help.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what this whole podcast has been. And no one's been paying attention to it.
I'm doing fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
Everyone but Peter is in jail.
Yeah. No, I'm in jail. I'm just like living it up.
Wow, okay.
I'm in my element.
Minimum security prison for Peter.
Yeah. Peter can just like walk out, honestly.
Yeah,
They
it's
don't
actually
even know
it's
what
actually
it's like.
voluntary incarceration.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. Well, I guess if you like turn yourself
that
in,
what-
I don't know.
Isn't that like quarantine?
Yeah. Oh no.
I know it's a thing for like I know it's a thing for like psych ward, but I don't know about like prisons.
Mm.
Unless you like turn yourself in and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna do the time. I don't know.
Speaking of psych wards,
What?
I don't know.
That's not the best.
That's
that you
not a
can
good
do,
segue. No.
No, I mean there's
We'll accept
There's
it,
a
I
song.
suppose.
You know what? There's a song that says that they've deemed him criminally insane. So you know what? We'll deal with it.
That's true. That's true.
That was what I was going for. We're talking about an album today, and it's called "Since I Left You," and it's by the Avalanches.
Yep.
Welcome to the show.
Yep.
This show.
This show, even. Yeah. Of
Yeah.
all the shows you could have showed up to, you chose this one, and I'm.
Thanks.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm thanks.
I'm also thanks.
I wasn't finishing your sentence. I was just saying thanks
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
to the people who showed up,
How incredible.
to our friends that we made along the way.
All right, we're going to talk about this album. It's from 2000, and it's the Plunderphonics album.
Yep. It's one of
The
them.
only one.
No.
The genre died after this point.
Death Grips would like to have words with you.
Death Grips isn't
What?
really Plunderphonics.
Well, I mean, it's like a lot of like found sample kind of stuff, I
Only
guess.
on
But like more
Hear
like
This-
street recording, I guess, not like plundered from other recorded stuff, I suppose,
Blundered.
as much.
Yeah. Quick shout out to John Oswald,
Whom?
who did Plunderphonics.
All right. Shout out to that guy. What are we thinking about this album? Wyatt.
I think this album is packed from front to end with good vibes.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah. No, this is a really, sweet package of just fully like synthesized music. I guess it's like fully assembled, not like performed. Yes. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly the full story of the production.
It's
Okay.
all like it's 100%
all
All
samples.
samples. Yeah.
That's all right. That's what I thought. And yeah. I mean, that's really an impressive feat, and more so that this is kind of like one long unbroken track essentially, even though it is split up. But there's like a seamless border between each individual track, and I could not imagine like how many samples one must source and the amount of time it would take to put them all into a cohesive collection that is this long, and how many times they probably had to re-listen to the same thing over and over until they got it just right. But
So I'm
an
I'm
impressive
looking at
feat.
the numbers right
Well,
now. The lowest estimate is 900 samples,
yeah,
and the
Mm,
highest estimate is 3,500.
mm,
it's a lot.
damn.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Peter, what do you think about the Avalanches since I left you?
The Avalanches since I left you. I love it. This is an airtight um musical release, plunderphonic masterpiece. Um, one of the best albums in a year that was full of great albums. Um, front to back, fantastic. I do enjoy their two subsequent releases, but this one takes the cake.
Yeah, I don't. I would have a hard time like finding someone who thinks that this isn't their best album.
Um, there's actually a lot of praise for their newest album.
There is.
I guess if you're like into like new disco, you might like the newer one more. We Will Always Love You. But
Yeah.
it's not quite as impressive as this. I think because since they've like kind of like risen to um they've like amassed a following, they have like a reputation. So their two other albums, Wildflower and We Will Always Love You, um are not entirely samples. They have features and guest stars and stuff.
Yeah. And as much as I do like those newer albums, they do lose kind of the charm of this record, I find. Um
Yeah.
but yeah, I love this album. It's really good. I'd heard it a couple times before this, but like this is my first time really diving in and going at it. And it's really good. Um very very impressive is kind of my takeaway from it. And just really good to listen to, but most of all I'm just thinking about how many hundreds of hours this must have taken to make.
Yeah.
um
Yeah, not only in like the actual production of, ordering all of these samples, but finding them to begin with.
yeah, exactly.
That's always something that's kind of boggled my mind, is like just the concept of like
Hearing
plundering the
something and being
phonics,
like
Plundering the phonics.
Yeah, like what
Yeah.
where do you go for that? What do you do? Like that seems
well,
like a
really,
wildly ambitious way to acquire music.
yeah, I mean generally what I imagine, and I don't know if this is actually how it's done, but this is how I would probably go about it if I were tasked with doing it, is just go to like a pawn shop or a thrift store and get all like the 50 cent $1 records, get as many as you can, and just like listen to them and listen instead for like what you can take rather than like the actual music itself. um
Yeah, I'm reading a little Reddit here that says most of these are from vinyl records,
yeah, that, I
and
mean, you
that
can
like
hear it.
yeah, and that like the two producers, Robbie Shader and Darren Seltman, um, would work independently on tracks, and then they would like swap their what they had done with each other, and then they would like work on the other person's track.
Hmm.
So there's
Interesting.
like, yeah, so like one of them would come up with the idea, and then they would swap and like expand on whatever the other one had done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
that's a really
really
interesting
clever way of doing
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Huh. All right, well, we've already kind of started on it. Let's talk about some of the instrumental samples on this thing. What
Yeah.
y'all have anything you wanted to talk about the instrumental samples?
It's always tough for me to talk instruments because I don't quite have the ear for picking them out unless it's a glockenspiel. Um, so
What about
There's actually a,
bagpipes?
there's
or
actually a very
bagpipes.
high chance that there's some glockenspiel on this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I suppose so. Um, but no, I I get very lost listening to this album. Both because of like the just sheer like quantity of the things being sampled and thrown at me at the same time, but also just kind of the beautiful like synthesis of all of those things at the same time. I just kind of like vibe out.
Mm.
Yeah, so do I have much to say about the instruments? No, not really, because I couldn't tell you what instruments I heard, if any, for the most part.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Peter.
Mm-hmm.
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 Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I think like one of the strong suits of this album is like how well it synthesizes disparate genres.
Oh yeah.
Um, so it is really hard to like pinpoint specific sounds, but they use a lot of um I want to say like disco, bossa nova, um,
Sounds like some
um,
hip hop stuff in there too.
yeah, definitely hip hop, like '90s hip hop, like
Yeah.
record scratches, stuff like that. Um, there's a lot of that, but I mean, this was released in the year 2000, and it kind of is like a celebration of 20th century music
Yeah. Also
from
worth
around the
noting.
world.
Also worth noting that it was actually finished a bit before then, but they had to clear as many of those samples as they could, um, which took a long, long time.
Yeah. I think
Um,
maybe also worth noting that they're from Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah, I did. I read that they were an Australian group.
This is
For
actually
some
Danny's band.
Hmm.
for some reason, Australia's been like at the forefront of like neo psychedelia for the past 20 years. And I think that this like just barely kind of fits into that category. It does have a psychedelic
Yeah.
quality sometimes.
Oh yeah, especially towards the end of the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the yeah, what you were saying about all these different genres, there's tons of old like jazz and funk and classical instrument samples. The beats are often composed of like a ton of different tracks, drums that are like fused seamlessly together between different segments of the track. Um, and yeah, like there's just so many samples here, and it's really fun to even just like you can easily get lost listening to this album and just kind of like listen to it as one kind of collage. But
Yeah.
if you do try and like zero in on every sample, you can like find something new every single listen. Yeah, it's I think a lot of the bass samples on this thing are particularly incredible. Uh as are some of the more like non-traditional bits of instrumentation, kind of the classical guitar at the beginning, the super nostalgic wind instruments on Close to You, and like the clanking spoons in Diners Only. And it's all
My
just
favorite like musical motif is not even an instrument. It's that like horse whinnying.
oh yeah.
Yeah, which shows up on a few tracks I think, but is like um kind of given its kind of like used to its full capacity on Frontier Psychiatrist.
Yeah, we'll
But
talk about Frontier
we'll talk
Psychiatrist.
about
Don't-
Frontier Psychiatrist. But that like horse whinny pops up earlier too, and it kind of
yeah,
just
on
like it just like floats by.
yeah, it's not on radio. What fucking song is it? It's another one of those songs that has like a high pitched sound that I thought was maybe even like a sample that also got used in a Beastie Boys song, but then I realized, wait a minute, no, that's just a horse. Like,
It's in Stay Another Season
okay, yeah,
in the background. Yeah,
I knew it was somewhere near the beginning.
yeah.
Um,
I think it might be on another track too, but it kind of like it comes and goes, and
yeah,
I feel like other samples do that too. where they kind of like weave in and out of the mix.
Totally, yeah. I guess that you could also call that something of a vocal sample. What do we think about the vocal samples on this album?
Wait, are you gonna call the horse sample the vocal sample?
Hey,
That's technically correct.
yeah, exactly. It's not
Yeah,
an
I guess
Which
instrument.
is
so.
only kind of correct, Nathan,
As
ever
as a
is.
vegan, I don't know if you can.
Interesting.
I don't know if I didn't realize you'd be okay with calling a horse an instrument.
Well, I would also call a human an instrument.
Well, then what? Then why do we even have a vocal sample set? Why are vocals a thing? Huh?
I don't know. You made the list of elements.
You
Yeah,
could have
I
predicted.
didn't make this.
What do we think about the vocal samples on this album?
Hot fire.
Let's fucking go.
It's
Hot
good stuff.
fire. Yes.
Yeah. They really do. I know originally this album was actually meant to be a concept album about like a guy following a girl like around the world, and always like being on like the port behind her. I think is what I had read. And I think in like the range of vocals present, like you really do get a sense of that original intention. You know, you have you know, representation of different accents from all over the world across a lot of the vocals, and it seems like also different like periods as well. It's almost like that initial journey that was planned was a journey across space as well as time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really contributes to, I think, to the timeless and like ubiquitously enjoyable feeling of this entire album.
Yeah.
Oh.
Peter, how about you?
There's a really good balance here between like tugging at the heartstrings, like really emotional, powerful vocals, especially ones you can tell are like from some like 1940s piece or like 60s crooner or something. But then like sometimes the way they sample it is very comedic, and like they make it into like a gag almost. Coming back to Frontier Psychiatrist. So yeah, I just love the dichotomy there, where it's like emotional and bittersweet, but it's also kind of like funny and tongue in cheek. But also just like the specific samples they use. And they'll use like part of a song and just loop it and loop it and loop it.
Avalanche rockin', avalanche rockin'.
Yeah, and I mean, if you just want to go with like from the get go, Since I Left You, the title track, the opener, the large majority of this song is just the same line. Since I left you, I found the world so new every day.
Yeah.
So it's just like repeated over and over.
Yeah, and that sample kind of carries over into the next track too. It's interesting.
Yeah.
The way this album is produced, it almost feels like its own remix album at times. Just in the way that like different samples are interpreted entirely differently throughout different tracks and just across the album.
Yeah, very much. And I think it's the mark of like a good remix or a good sampler that can like recontextualize samples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think especially like from the get-go, you have this song about like emancipation from a relationship. Like since I left you, yeah, everything's new, everything's great. But by repeating it over and over, it sounds like you're still stuck in the past. You're still focusing on the leaving part.
Yeah, it's jubilant but also tragic. It's
Yeah.
very interesting like contrast there.
Like it's the lyrics are saying I've moved on, but by repeating them over and over, have you
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, like if I kind of like tune out and I'm just kind of listening to the sound of the track as opposed to what is actually being said over and over again. Like it's almost like listening to Mr. Blue Sky, you know? It's like, yeah, this feels great. It got pep in my step. And then like I tune back in, I'm like, hold on, what's going on here?
Yeah. And then you've
Yeah.
got something like 2 Hearts in 3/4 time.
Mhm.
Where the intro is "Can't you hear it? Money. Can't you hear it? Money, money." And then they just keep talking about money. And they've got this
And it goes,
weird,
ooh, yeah, ooh, yeah.
yeah, this weird sample that's like, it's like almost like sexual noises, but they're like
Mhm.
really not delivered in a sexy way. It's just like uncomfortable and yeah, like are they trying to make a point about like money and capitalism? Maybe. They're just being um really vague about it. Most of this song is just like noises. It's just like
Yeah.
um la la las and do da da das. Um
Is
but
this
yeah,
what it
just
shows on the Genius page? I'm not looking at it.
yes. It literally does.
It says
The
loo la
post
la.
hook the post hook is la 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 for quite a bit. And then the hook is la 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 do da da da.
Amazing.
And then and then you've got little like backup vocals
Lyrical.
or a diamond studded star polka dot balloon. But most of it is la la la's and do da da's. Yes.
Nice. Yeah,
Um
I think what's interesting about here is just that like they managed to make every vocal sample work perfectly as either like kind of a decontextualized instrument, like on 2 Hearts in 3/4 time, on Stay Another Season, or on Electricity, or as like more traditional singing, like on Since I Left You and Flight Tonight and Live at Domino's and like Diners Only. Um, and then even just as a bit of storytelling, like Frontier Psychiatrist, which we'll get to even more later. There's a very specific section here for it.
um I think it's interesting why what you said about the original concept for this album,
Yeah.
which I wasn't aware of,
Yeah.
but it kind of like shed some new light on Flight Tonight specifically,
Mm-hmm.
where the
Which one?
main
Sorry, I cut out a little bit.
Flight Tonight,
Ah, yeah, yeah.
where the main sample is "I need to book a flight tonight," um,
Yeah, it's
and that kind of repeats
it
over and over. It sounds urgent,
yeah.
like maybe not what it's sampled from, but just the
Mhm.
fact that it's repeated so many times.
Well,
Right.
but also the
Um,
instrumental underneath it
oh yeah, for sure.
reminds me of that. Fuck, what's this song on Mad Villainy? The one that has Quasimodo. But you know what I mean, like that guitar just playing the same note over and over. The
Yeah, it almost sounds like desperation. Like it's something you know you have to do, but like you're stuck in the loop and you're unable to do it.
You know what you have to do, but you don't know if you have the strength to do it, is what you're saying.
God damn it.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
No, it's saying I need to book a flight tonight, but then it just keeps looping and looping and looping. So I think the backstory that you gave us about um the original concept being like
Hmm.
one step behind and like trying to follow someone across the globe.
Yeah.
Um, this track lends really well to that.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, I need to book a flight,
mhm.
repeated over and over.
Yeah. It's a theme that like if you're aware that that was like the production history of this album, that like you really can see pop up like here and there. But is not there present enough, I think, where you can like really make much out of it other than that like this is the remnants of the initial concept for the album.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
I always thought of it more just like like a celebration, like an homage to 20th century music from
Yeah, and
around the
I see that
world.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely like jumping around across the world. There's like airplane themes, radio themes, um, but also in time because you have samples from like some really old stuff and then like
Right.
90s hip hop, which at this point was contemporary.
Hmm.
Hell yeah. Sorry, I was drinking water. um,
Don't
Oh,
do that. Not on this show.
how dare you?
This is a dry show.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, what do you think about the? I think a lot of this sample work would be for naught if it was mixed poorly. So, what do y'all think about the mixing of this and like the way that they
Buddy,
like?
what do I think about the mixing of this?
Yeah.
Yep.
You serious, man?
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
fantastic. Oh, Siri just went off. Oh, because I said the word that I'm not going to repeat again. Yeah, no, I mean, like that's all this is really is the mixing, you know? Like that's the artistry here, and like it's top notch. Um, you know, the like I mentioned earlier up front, like the way that like the samples like mix in and out from each other and can return or be reinterpreted on like a subsequent track is like just like endlessly impressive to me.
Mm,
Impeccable.
Impeccable, absolutely.
amazing.
Pog.
Um,
Um,
it's a little before this album's time. Or wait. Wait, I said that in
Wait.
Hold on.
order.
Wait a minute.
Peter, save
Yes.
me. Get me outta
yes,
here.
I think the fact that a lot of these samples are actually pulled from vinyl records, um, gives it that like warm, fuzzy, crackling quality, even if you're listening to it in a digital format.
Do you have this on
Um,
vinyl?
I do actually, and it sounds fantastic on vinyl.
Does it
If you,
do like the what I've wondered with this and other albums that have like this kind of faux like on the recording cracking, is that also on the vinyl release?
yes,
Okay.
so it's got some extra crackles just from
Yeah.
being yes. Um, One thing that
I know Igor
is
doesn't. That's the one that I was wondering before I got it.
I think the only Igor I have on vinyl is Savage Sinuoid.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, the one thing that I would maybe prefer the digital over the vinyl for this album for is the transitions
Mm,
because it's a 2 disc release.
yeah.
So like you do have to flip it twice and change the disc once. Um, so you kind of do miss the flow a little bit because there's some fantastic um, segues and transitions going on here, um, to the point where like sometimes it's hard to differentiate one track from another, um, just because it so seamlessly transitions into another thing. Like you could easily split this into like half as many tracks and it would still make sense. But for the most part, it sounds fantastic. If you want, you can borrow the record.
That's your thesis here.
Yes.
I yeah, I think while like the mixing on this record is obviously like kind of dated, it's definitely more like nostalgically so than distractingly, right? Like it's the kind of dated where you think, "Oh, I miss this." More so than like, "Oh, this sounds bad now." Um yeah, there's a ton of like vinyl crackle all over the place, which is to be expected given the nature of how it was made. But yeah, like you said, it gives it a very warm and comforting sound. And while I think the mix does obscure a little bit of the music, it makes it more fun to dig in and kind of look for all the samples being used rather than just like making it sound muddy.
Yeah, and I think also the fact that like it's a 2000 album that's like trying to sound vintage, as opposed to like an 2000s album that's trying to sound contemporary,
Mm-hmm.
and then now in 2021 sounds dated. Because like at the time it was released, it already sounded old.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of hard to be dated.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the song composition? Just like what I think that's kind of what you were more talking about when you were talking about mixing.
You talking about me or
Maybe.
Peter?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. You.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, okay.
I said yeah before you said Peter, but I think
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so.
yeah. Fair enough.
Take has been already offered.
Yeah. Your take was so
Yeah.
good you didn't have to say it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The song composition, Peter.
The song composition.
Tell me.
I love the song composition. I think I talked about this a bit earlier where like um they're blending different genres, which is always something that I gravitate towards. Um but they're also doing that thing I love where they like um kind of like layer instruments, which is especially effective if you're using samples. Where like you have like kind of more simple part, you've got like two or three things going on, and then you loop it, and then you add another one, and then you add another one, and then you add another one, and it kind of like grows as the track progresses. Um, and I think they do a lot of that, and I think you see that in like um, stuff like post rock and progressive rock. Um,
I think you're just always thinking about post rock. That's what I think
well,
about you, Peter.
well, rock
Look, we
is
don't have to
dead,
get
so
personal here.
technically everything's post rock. Okay. Um,
Damn. What if it came before rock died, though?
well, then we don't talk about it because that's just boomer music. Um, but yes, the song composition is fantastic. There's like not a single like sleepy song. I'm like always invested.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm always waiting for what comes next. I mean, if you're using like between 900 and 3,500 samples, um, you've got quite an arsenal of like things to throw at the listener.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this is like a bit over an hour, but like there's no point where I'm like waiting for it to be over or I'm waiting for a next track. I'm just like constantly always having a great time.
It is
And
literally an hour, like exactly down to the second,
oh,
which I
okay.
think must be intentional.
I thought it was a bit more, but yeah, uh, you could be right on that.
I am
Um,
right. I'm always right. Don't worry.
so yeah, I think the song composition is fantastic. Um, some of these splits could have been moved around because the transitions are so seamless, but I don't see that as like a negative.
Especially
Um,
because, yeah, you're specifically talking the vinyl version, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is very much like an album experience, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you do get rewarded for listening front to back.
Yeah, this feels
Um,
more to me. Well, it feels like very much a product of like the early CD era where they were just starting to get to a point where you could just listen continuously without having to cut it at any point. Um so like something like a vinyl release was kind of an afterthought. Although I imagine it was also released on vinyl at launch, but like it feels designed for CD to me. Which I
I can
guess we're
see that.
kind of like peeking into the flow of the record. I'll get to my thoughts on song composition in a second, but we want to talk about the flow of this record since we're already here.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well,
it, coward.
Just to be sure, can you provide me your definition of flow? Because
Like
to
between
me
tracks,
that is just
like the between
between
tracks, just
tracks.
how it
Yeah,
flows from start to finish.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think I've said a bit on this already, but it's seamless. You know, this is to me, to my ears, a single 60-minute track that has, it's almost Godspeed like in that way, where it just is
This is truly the skin
yeah,
fists of Plunderphonics records.
of course, exactly. Yeah, yeah, I don't really, I can't think of any point exactly where I think that flow is ever broken and it feels like a hard stop into the next thing. Um, you do have like kind of moments that exist for the point of transition, like Avalanche Rock being, is that the one? Yeah, the like 22-second track that's just kind of like an interlude between 2 Hearts and 3/4 Time and Flight Tonight. Um, and I think that's kind of the sole purpose of a track that short in between those tracks is just as an interlude. But it is like it does seamlessly, you know, start from one track and go into the other, and there's really no breaks with anything. And I think that's maybe a holdover from the original concept where the album was kind of like a pursuit, I guess. But yeah, I mean when when you just have like this really like pleasant assembly of sounds, I think why kick you out of it at any point? It's I think it's a good way to maintain immersion while listening.
Yeah.
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 You said a little bit already. But...
I did, yeah. This is like textbooks, textbook flow for an album, I think. Um, I did say a little bit where like you could move the splits for these tracks, and most listeners wouldn't notice.
Would
I mean,
on
the
the
length. Is
sorry, on
that?
the vinyl release, where is the split for like the beginning of side D, do you know? Is
I
it the
don't.
beginning or end
I
of
could
Frontier
go.
Psychiatrist? Because that
I could go
sounds like a
check
good
for you.
place. You don't have to. I'm just
I think Frontier Psychiatrist is maybe the end of side C.
okay. That makes sense. That is a good
Yeah.
place to cut aside, I think.
I think I agree with you that you could move the splits, but also like when a split happens, there is a notable shift like from what is on either side of it.
Yeah, but you mentioned the transition tracks. Those could have easily just been tacked on to
Yeah.
either like the track before or after.
Yeah, you could
Um,
split that Avalanche track in half and just
yeah, you've got a
rip,
range.
yeah.
You've got a range of like from 23 seconds to almost like 6 minute tracks. Um, I think it's
It's
interesting also that the two shortest tracks are one Avalanche Rock, which is like shutting out the band name, and two Pablo's Cruise, which was the original title of this album.
The Life of
Um,
Pablo's Cruise.
um, yeah, and that was just an instrumental too.
yeah, I didn't know that
Um,
about the title.
yeah, that was like the working title for the album.
Huh.
So I think it's kind of interesting that they were like relegated to like the shortest tracks, like under a minute long. Um, Kind of makes me wonder if they were like added as transitions or if they were always like intended to stay there in some
Hmm.
capacity. Um, but yeah, the flow of this thing's fantastic. You've got um some more chill, laid back stuff. You've got some more like upbeat banger stuff. Um, and I think the like ebbs and flows of the album um always arrive at the right time, which is hard to pull off when you're making your own music. I can't imagine when you're like remixing thousands of other people's music.
Yeah.
But kudos to them.
Yeah,
I'm
I kind of
impressed.
see this album as like a musical tapestry that kind of like seamlessly ties all of these elements together and just
It's a
like
quilt.
yeah, exactly. Like it um and yeah, that applies especially to the track list. It's really easy to miss when songs begin and end, which leads to a really easy listening experience, but maybe a very difficult one for this podcast, given that we need to pick favorite songs.
Oh, fuck, I forgot we were doing that.
I got
Oh,
a few
God.
picked out.
Yeah, I do have them now, but I did like struggle a little bit and have to like refresh on all of them before. Um, but yeah, and I'll go back to song composition just because I intentionally cut mine off. I think it's just genius. I think it's impossible to imagine just how much effort this must have taken. Um, and the way it all comes together so seamlessly is nothing short of impressive. Yeah, the way it pulls just elements of different genres together with what sounds like so much ease is ridiculous. And then the way it all turns into something cohesive in and of itself is just something to behold. Let's talk a little bit as we kind of wrap this up. Well, we're not wrapping it up, but let's talk about some of the tracks. We'll talk about there's kind of two types of tracks on this record. There's the chill tracks and there's the bangers. Let's talk about some chill songs. Y'all got any chill songs to shout out?
Close to You,
Close
Light
to-
Tonight. I feel like those are
Take
a
a
little
flight
more on the
tonight.
chill side. It is really tough to like
Yeah,
figure out what tracks specifically were what tracks, I suppose. The bangers being the ones that stand out more.
yeah. I've got written
Uh,
out some, so I
Yeah,
can.
okay.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah,
Diners Only, which kind of lives up to its name. It really feels like something you'd hear some band play at like a cafe or a diner late at night. There's like clinking cutlery and all that, and there's the
That's one of my favorite like I guess like ambient sounds. It's like just like the sound of dining, I guess.
yeah,
That's nice. It's pleasant.
yeah. Another one of these chill songs is a different feeling. It's almost like a smooth house song with all these like arpeggiating pianos and these lush strings all over the place.
I do like a smooth house.
You would.
Also, Pablo's Cruise.
Yeah, Pablo's Cruise is pretty chill.
Pablo's Cruise is pretty chill.
There's Tonight May Have to Last Me All My Life, which is probably the most chilled track on here if I had to pick one. It's got this like super woozy and really old school sounding classical jazz piano with these like really gorgeous whispered vocals. It's one of my favorite tracks, I think. There's Ito. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it.
Is it
Ito,
Ito or Eto?
Ito. I don't know.
Oh, I think this one also has the whinnying sample.
You might be right. Yeah, this
Well,
one's just like
I mean, it's like right after Frontier Psychiatrist. So
yeah,
yeah.
This is just like a super psychedelic and really bassy collage of songs and sounds. There's Summer Crane, which is equally psychedelic, if not even more, and there's so much tremolo and reverb on this one. It's a whole vibe. And I think the last track as well is it's
Little Journey, maybe.
Little Journey. I don't remember that one.
I mean, it's very like
It's very little.
It's very little. It's it's not so much like a singular chill piece because it kind of like jumps around. It's like a mini album within itself.
Whoa.
Like it kind of like it switches up a lot. It's like you're like changing the radio station kind of thing. But
Okay.
like every radio station's playing like something chill.
Yeah. And then the closer is just straight vibing, right? It's got this.
Yeah.
It's got like some harsh psych feedback at times, but also there's these like really gorgeous flanger effects on all the instruments that just kind of make it a vibe. It's a good vibe to close out on. All right. And now what we're really here for. Hit me with some bangers.
Oh, well, you gotta talk about Frontier Psychiatrist.
All right,
don't you?
I was thinking we save that for last, but let's do it.
Let's dive right in.
Let's do it. Frontier
Is
Psychiatrist.
it presumptuous to say that's your favorite track?
It is. It's one of the best songs ever, I think.
Okay.
It's really fucking good.
It is immaculate shit.
This was my first introduction to Avalanches.
I think it was mine as well, but not in like a this is the single, this is the one that people listen to. This was just like I picked a random song off this album to like check out what it was, and that was the track that I landed on.
I think my brother showed me this video when I was like 12, and like I thought it was just like
The video
a meme
is so
video.
good.
Yeah, like I didn't realize it was like an actual song from an actual album.
Okay.
I think I actually listened to this album like maybe like 5 years ago for the first time. But I know the video very well from like my early teens.
Yeah. So I wrote notes for like all of the tracks that I wanted to point out for like the chills and the bangers. But for Frontier Psychiatrist, I just wrote all caps. Holy shit!
Yeah.
My first time listening to this track when I just like accidentally landed on it blew my mind. Especially like that switch up towards the end where it's like or I guess towards the halfway point where it's like a bird, and then just like the bird squawking being made into the
Yeah.
into the instrumental is so
It's really
good. I've played it on like the living room speakers a few times, and my parrot freaks out at that part of the song. He does not enjoy it.
Oh man.
But yeah,
I like
just the whole
I like
thing.
around like 3/4 when she's like a record. Yeah. And then it's like the record scratches.
Yeah, so good.
Well, and we have this moment too on this track where like the record scratch and the parrot screech kind of merge into a sound, or at least that's how I perceived it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love like the horns on this song with like the vocal sample in the background. Just the whole kind of main instrumental of this thing, I guess. So memorable. It's a fucking banger. It's so good. But there's some other bangers on here. The intro is certainly one of them. It really tells how kind of lively and joyful this whole record is.
Yeah.
Like I see the opener as like maybe half chill, half banger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not like
It's not a
It puts
rager.
pep in my step, but I
it's
don't
not like
dance to it.
throwing you in the deep end. It's kind of like
Yeah.
easing you into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Radio.
Radio is a banger.
Radio?
for
Radio
sure.
is so
Radio.
funky.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say radio and electricity.
Oh yeah,
would be
electricity
my
is
other two
also
shouts
one.
out.
Yeah, radio is so funky, and there's that like really harsh bit crunched high note thing that kind of stays throughout the mix, and those do a whole lot to like help this track stand out. And yeah, electricity has just this massive sound and this bass line along that vocal sample that I can't quite pin down what they're saying. It sounds to me like they're saying,
I think Electricity was the first single.
oh, I don't know what a single is. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think there
fair.
were 4 singles. I am certain electricity was one. I don't, and I think Since I Left You was one as well. But I
So
Don't remember
apparently
what the other two
the only lyrics on Electricity are rap dirty, rap dirty, rap dirty repeated over and over. And
Is that what
I
the-
can see Electricity.
Is it really saying rap dirty?
I'm listening to it now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the sample that I'm
It's
talking about, though.
rap dirty, and I can see electricity.
But yeah, like the bass line in this track paired with that sample is enough to make this one of my favorites. Like the boom, 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 boom. It's really good.
I like the synth line in that.
Oh yeah. Flight Tonight just has an awesome guitar line and this wicked hook. And Close to You just has a banger beat and these woodwinds that are really nostalgic for me specifically. I don't know if it's just like a naturally nostalgic sound or one that's nostalgic to me because my dad was kind of into genres of instrumental hip hop that used this kind of woodwind instrument a lot as I was growing up, but this track is awesome.
There's also some great cowbell in Close to You.
I don't remember
Close enough
that, but
to
I can see that.
Glockenspiel for me to give a thumbs up.
Nice. Okay, fair.
I think my last banger is Live at Domino's, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I love these like Daft Punk esque.
I did make a note that it sounded very Daft Punk.
Oh yeah, the whole track kind of does, but especially like the vocals over this kind of trippy beat, it's just ridiculous. And this whole track sounds really huge and is just kind of an awesome dance track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the like dance and like electro house vibes are kind of like reminiscent of Daft Punk. And then I think like Daft Punk in their like random access memory stage borrowed some from Avalanches for their like new disco vibes.
Yeah, I could see it. And yeah, we kind of talked about it already a little bit. I wrote historical context on this list thing, but more so just like how hard it would have been to get 3,500 samples in the year 2000 and do that all at once.
Yeah.
Like, on like
editing this
analog...
on like Windows 98 or
XP,
with like
or with
Yeah,
like all
and
this
they're, like-
analog technology.
Yeah, they're like ripping them off of vinyl records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of times you would have to like know exactly which groove on the record has the sample you're looking for, with how many times you'd have to like restart it to grab the right exact timing. It's wild.
I wonder if they developed like an upper addiction working on this thing.
It's too chill. I
Yeah,
think,
maybe a
for
little
that
bit.
to have been the case.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
the amount of focus and precision they would have needed is
Oh, true.
insane. Like I can't imagine.
Yeah. It does make me want to try and make like sample-based music though. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't-
do it.
Like it sound like, especially with where music making technology is now, it can't be nearly as hard as back then. And if I'm not selling it, well, I can just make whatever.
Exactly.
Maybe I'll sell it anyways and get arrested. Who knows? Might fuck around and find out.
Oh no!
Big
Whoa,
man.
whoa, whoa.
I didn't say that here. Don't worry.
Cool your jets.
Hey, I'm already in prison, so.
Yeah.
You're gonna go to super prison here on Jupiter
Oh,
in a second.
fuck. Prison Jupiter.
Mhm.
We'll go to one of like.
Supermax Jupiter.
If you're really bad, we send you to prison Pluto.
Oh
Mhm.
man,
PP.
PP.
He gets sent to PP.
Oh, that sounds fun. All right, let's wrap this up. All right, what do we what are our final thoughts on this record?
It's just like a really nice, like upbeat, collection of music and sounds, and will definitely be something I will just throw on in the future when I'm wanting to listen to something a little like breezy and casual.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Peter.
This is like so close to a perfect record for me.
Ooh.
There's like a bunch of shit I love. There's the whole like genre fusion, which is just like taken to new extremes. The flow between tracks, the like low key banger dichotomy.
I'm making an album
It's-
called that as well.
I was gonna title my autobiography that.
The low-key banger dichotomy. Someone write that down. I'll remember to put that
Yeah.
in the description.
This just like checks so many boxes on like what makes a great album for me. And it's been like in my rotation for a few years now. And I think probably like of the records I own, it's like maybe in like the top, easily top 10, maybe top 5 records I spin the most. It's just fantastic stuff all around. I love it.
I also love it. It's super impressive, like obviously. Like I can't help but just be kind of in awe when I listen to this. I think my only like minor complaint is at one point every single listen there is a track, and it's always a different track, but there's always a track where I'm like, I feel like I could be ready for the next track now. And I think I'm not entirely sure what that is. I think it is mostly just the fact that it is all samples, and that can get a little bit like
Captain Crunch's Oops All Samples.
Yeah,
album.
exactly. But it's never like ever close to something that I'm like, maybe I'll go listen to something else now, or maybe I'll stop listening. Like it's always just like a minor thing that goes away real quick when the next track starts. And it's really not that bad. I still love this record, and I love pretty much every track here. It's a banger. Let's do favorite tracks and rating. Wyatt, you got some songs for us?
Ooh, yeah, I do.
See, this is why we
let's
have
see.
you on. You always have songs
Let's see.
for us.
Yeah. Number 1, of course, Frontier Psychiatrist.
Number 1 of all time.
Number 1
the
song.
banger.
After that, there are more toss-ups, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna give an order, but you can futz around with it if you like. Number 2, we'll say Electricity. Number 3, Radio. Number 4, Live at Domino's. Number 5, Probably Since I Left You.
What's your rating?
It's an extremely impressive 8.
Yeah. Peter?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Frontier Psychiatrist.
Of course.
2 Hearts and 3/4 Time. Flight Tonight. Since I Left You, and Electricity.
Hell yeah. And
And I'm gonna give it a light 10.
what? You can't leave a light 10. No, a 10's a 10.
Can't I? Can't I?
No, light 10 is a fake thing. It's a 10's a 10.
A light 10 turns into a 9 if you breathe on it.
Yeah, exactly, and I just breathed on it.
Well, nobody breathes too hard, okay? Okay, fuck it, I'm bumping it up to a solid 10.
Hell yeah, okay, there we go.
It's a perfect album, fuck you.
Got him. Alright, my favorites are Frontier Psychiatrist, shit, I lost my Ito, Electricity, Live at Domino's. What am I at? 4? Radio. And I've been waffling all day between like a super strong 8 and a light 9, so I think I'll lean towards a 9.
Waffling.
I like when we do this. I like when we have like a clean average.
Yeah.
Is waffling an verb?
Oh,
yeah.
Really? Okay.
You're
Yeah.
flipping. You're
I've never heard
flip-flopping. You
that.
flip your
Well, I don't flip my waffle. I use a waffle maker.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you
use
flip
like a
that.
waffle iron.
You don't flip the maker.
No, because
It's heated on both sides.
It's hot on both sides. It's like a
Yeah.
toaster, but like horizontal.
You could flip a pancake because you're doing that in a pan
Yeah.
for the most part.
Fucking hate you guys.
Or you can flip an
Fuck you.
egg.
All right, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
That's a podcast.
Oh yeah, wait.
No. We got to do the draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the luck of the draw.
Randomizer.
Oh, I did something I'm really glad. I changed every single thing on our list to have the name of the artist and the album in the same field, because I would keep doing the album randomizer and it would have a name like an album name that I didn't remember who it was by. And so I would have to like Control F there. So now I have them both in the same thing. So this will be a lot
Did you
easier.
break my randomizer?
No, it still works.
Are you sure? Okay.
I think.
Is it still
Have you
only
tested
picking
it?
albums that you put?
Oh, it's one of Peter's.
Oh, it is. It is. Oh my god, I'm excited. What is it?
It's Battles Mirrored.
Fuck yeah. Okay, let's go.
That's like
Let's
like
go.
math noise rock kind of thing, right? I haven't actually heard that.
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it noise rock. It's more mathy, but like more electronic than most math rock gets.
Okay. So you're saying it's EDM.
It's very much not EDM, no.
So you're telling me we're about to go listen to a Marshmello album.
It's it's like math rock but a little electronic, and you could dance to it.
I mean, you could. I think I recently shared a video of their Jules Holland performance.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that. It looks fun.
You didn't finish it?
It was. I forget when I actually started. It was late at night. I was going to bed.
Okay. Well, it's a really fun album. I'm looking forward to hearing your opinions
Hell yeah.
on it.
I know you have it on vinyl because when I went to your place, it was the one that you had on the turntable.
There you go. I think I have all their albums on vinyl, actually.
Ooh. Is Battles your Radiohead?
No.
Is Radiohead your Radiohead?
Animal Collective is my Radiohead, but
Damn. All right.
yeah.
Let's cut this.
Let's
That's
do
a
it.
podcast.
That's a podcast.
Podcast.
We'll see you next time for Yankee UXO by Godspeed You Black Emperor, and then the next one after that will be Mirrored by Battles.
Battles.
Let's get out of here.
Hell
Bye.
yeah.